Namaskar. Today we will discuss about the Indian clinometer and basic principles of land surveying. Introduction. Clinometer is an instrument for measuring angles of slope or a tilt, elevation or depression of an object with respect to gravity. It is also known as tilt meter or tilt indicator, slope alert, slope gauge, gradient meter, gradiometer, level gauge, level meter, declinometer and pitch and roll indicator. Clinometer measures both inclines, that is positive slopes as seen by an observer looking upwards, and declines, that is negative slopes as seen by an observer looking downwards, using a 3 different units of measures: degree, percent and topo. Astrolabes are inclinometers that were used for navigation and locating astronomical objects. Surveying has been important since the beginning of civilization. Today, the importance of measuring and monitoring our environments becoming increasingly critical as our population expands, land values appreciates, our natural resources dwindle and human activities continue to pollute our land, water and air. As a result, the breadth and diversity of practice of surveying as well as its importance in modern civilization is increasing from time to time. Surveying is indispensable to the engineer when planning, designing and constructing a project. So, all engineers should have a thorough understanding of the limits of accuracy possible in the construction and manufacturing processes. This knowledge, combined with an equal understanding of the limits of and capabilities of surveying, instrumentations and techniques, will enable the engineer to complete the project successfully in the most economical manner and in the shortest possible time. Types of clinometers. The Abney level clinometer. The Abney level, like other clinometer, gives the angle between the horizontal and sloping lines. It consists essentially of a telescope T to which a protractor P is rigidly fixed. The middle point of the protractor is marked by a 0 and on both sides the 0 or the graduations ranging from 0 degree to 60 degrees. Liquid capacitive clinometer. Liquid capacitive clinometer whose sensing elements are made with liquid capacitive technology, they are considered gravity based. The best way to understand how they work is to think of a disc like cavity that is half filled with dielectric liquids. One of the sides of the cavity has an etched conductor plate that is used to form one of the conductor of a variable parallel plate capacitors. The liquid along with the other side of the cavity forms the other plate of the capacitor. In operation, the sensor is mounted so that the disc is in a vertical plane, that means with its axis horizontal. Gravity then acts on the liquid, pulling it down in the cavity, forming a semicircle. As the sensor is rotated, the liquid remains in this semicircular pattern, covering a different area of the etched plate. This change in the area results in a change in the capacitance. The change in the capacitance is then electronically converted into an output signal that is linear with respect to the input angle. Indian clinometer. This clinometer was developed by the Survey of India, hence its name. It is also known as the tangent clinometer. It is always used along with a plane table. The Indian clinometer consists of a plate of brass and 2 flaps at the end of the plate. The flaps stand perpendicular to the long plate of brass. The plate has a bubble and a leveling screw by means of which the bubble can be brought to the center of its run and the instrument is leveled. One of the 2 upright flaps has a sighting hole where the observer places his eye when sighting the object. The other flap has a long slit and is graduated along both edges. One edge bears the trigonometric tangents and the other is degree of slopes, but at the middle there is a common 0, so that the 0 and the sighting hole are in the same horizontal alignment. Procedure: the surveyor goes into the field taking with him a map which is already drawn. His purpose is to find out the heights of vertical objects. He sets the plane table at some points and resets his position. The clinometer is placed up on the plane table. The first thing will be to find out the height of the point where the table is placed. Therefore, a point of known height is first sighted and the height of the resected point where the table is fixed is thereby determined. Thereupon, other points are sighted and their heights are also determined. By means of the Indian clinometer, a ratio between the vertical height and the horizontal distance is calculated. Factors which influence the use of clinometer. Overall accuracy varies depending on the type of clinometer and technologies utilized. Gravity, temperature, that is drift or zero offset, linearity, vibration, shock, cross axis sensitivity, acceleration and deceleration. A clear line of sight between the user and the measured point is needed. A well defined object is required to obtain the maximum precision. The angle of measurement precision and accuracy is limited to slightly better than 1 degree of arc. The clinometer is also commonly used by foresters to obtain the percent slope of terrain. This measurement is based on the same trigonometric principles described above. Slope measurements, however, require that both observer and the target to be constant height above the ground. Thus, a range pole or height of measurement h stick is often used in slope. Basic principles of land surveying. The definition of surveying. Surveying may be defined as the science of determining the position in 3 dimensions of natural and man-made features on or beneath the surface of the earth. These features may be represented in an analog form as a contoured map, plan or chart, or in digital form such as a digital ground model, that is DGM. In general, surveying is performed to determine the relative location or positioning of points on or near the earth's surface. More specifically, surveying is the science of making measurements relative to known or assumed datum and standards and applying the principles of mathematics to such measurements to determine the existing or future horizontal and vertical positions from area, magnitude, boundaries and extent of land parcels and topographical features. Branches of surveying. Different branches of surveying require different field procedures and varying degrees of precision for carrying out the work. Topographical surveying. Measurements of natural and artificial features of the earth's surface and their relative positions and the fixing of heights and contours above a fixed datum, usually in order that a map of these features may be made topographical maps. Hydrographic or hydrological surveying. It is concerned with the bodies of water such as harbors, lakes, rivers and the sea. It includes all surveys made to determine the depth of water, the characteristics of an underwater surface, changes in water level or the discharge river of stream. Photogrammetric surveying. Utilization of the science of measurements from stereoscopic photography to determine the relative position of the natural and artificial features of the earth's surface and obtaining elevations above a given datum. Remote sensing. the process of detecting or monitoring a chemical or physical properties of an object without physically contacting the object. Geographic Information System (GIS). It is designed to accept the large volume of spatial data derived from a variety of sources and to efficiently store, retrieve, manipulate, analyze and display these data according to user defined specifications. Global Positioning System, that is GPS. The advantages of GPS is that several satellites can be tracked simultaneously, which results in more accurate positioning. Based on the purpose for which the surveying is being conducted, surveying has been classified into control surveying. There are two kinds of control survey. These are horizontal and vertical control survey. Land surveying. It is also called property survey or boundary survey or cadastral survey. It is performed in order to establish the positions of boundary lines and property corners. It is usually performed whenever the land ownership is to be transferred or when a large tract of land is to be subdivided into a smaller parcels for development. It is also performed before the design and construction of any public or private or land use projects. Topographic survey. It is performed in order to determine the relative positions of existing natural and constructed features on a tract of land like ground elevation, bodies of water, roads, buildings, etc. It provides information on the shape of the land, hills, valleys, ridges and general slope of the ground. The data is obtained from a topographic survey or plotted in a map called a topographic map, and the shape of the ground is shown with lines of equal elevation called contours. Engineering survey. To collect a requisite data for planning, design and execution of engineering projects. There are three broad steps are to be taken. One is the reconnaissance survey to explore the site conditions and availability of infrastructures. Number 2, a preliminary survey to collect adequate data to prepare a plan or a map of area to be used for planning and design. Number 3, location survey to set out work on the ground for actual construction or execution of the projects. Route survey. It is performed in order to establish a horizontal and vertical controls, to obtain a topographic data and to lay out the position of highways, railroads, pipelines, etc. The primary aspect of route surveying is that the project area is very narrow compared with its length, which can be extended for many kilometers. To plan, design and laying out of the routes such as highways, railways, canals, pipelines and other linear projects. Construction survey. It is also called a layout or location survey and performed in order to make the position of new points on the ground. These new points represent the location of building corners, road center lines and other facilities that are to be built. Surveys which are required for establishment of points, lines, grades and for staking out engineering works after the plans have been prepared and the structural design has been done. Astronomic survey. To determine the latitude, longitude of the observation station and azimuth of the line through the observation station from the astronomical observations. Mine survey. To carry out surveying specific for open cast and underground mining purposes. City survey. The survey which are carried out for the construction of roads, parks, water supply system, sewage and other constructional work for any developing township are called city survey. The city maps were also prepared for tourists or known as guide maps. Principles of land surveying. Surveying is the art and science of taking measurements of the relatively physical position of points on the surface of the earth. It is representing in a map or a plan form analog and digital, at a particular scale in their correct horizontal and or vertical relationship. The main principles to be observed in surveying are to work from the whole to the part and to use methods which are accurate enough for the object. The increased accuracy means the greater labor and cost. These principles are best exemplified in the case of large national survey. Here, the first thing that is done in the establishment of a number of fairly widely separated points fixed with the most refined operators and methods. The wide gaps between these primary points are filled with a number of secondary points at much closer interval than the primary points. This still leaves rather wide gaps between fixed points, so a number of tertiary points are also fixed to fill in the gaps. The positions of these tertiary points not being accurately surveyed as are those of secondary and primary points. The result is a network of points fairly thickly spaced which can be used by the ordinary surveyor. In this way, the work has proceeded from the whole to the part, and each stage is of no greater accuracy than is necessary for the purpose for which it was designed. It is to be noted that if the final object of the survey is merely to produce a map or a plan, the accuracy of the last stage of the work is, that means the survey of the detail, need only be such that the errors in this stage are too small to be plotted. The accuracy of the fixing of the original primary, secondary and tertiary points will need to be a greater than that of the fixing of the primary points being very much greater. The reasons for this is that the survey work, even the most refined, is subject to be error. The errors are very quickly propagated and generally very much magnified as the work proceeds. Hence, if the primary work were not of the utmost possible accuracy, the very small error at the beginning would soon become a very large error as the work extended over a large area. Importance of surveying. Surveying is one of the world's oldest and most important arts because, as it noted previously, from the earliest times it has been necessary to mark boundaries and divide lands. Surveying has now become indispensable to our modern way of life. The result of today's survey are being used to map the earth above and below the sea level. Prepare a navigational charts for use in the air, on land and at sea. Establish a property boundaries of private and public lands. Develop a data banks of land use and natural resources informations which aid in managing our environment. Determine the facts on the size, shape, gravity and magnetic fields of the earth and prepare a charts of our moon and planets. Errors in surveying. Surveying is a process that involves observation and measurements with a wide range of electronic, optical and mechanical equipment, some of which are very sophisticated. Despite the best equipment and methods used, it is still impossible to take observations that are completely free of small variations caused by errors which must be guided against or their effects corrected. Types of errors. Gross errors. These are referred to mistakes or blunders by either the surveyor or his assistants due to carelessness or incompetence. On construction sites, mistakes are frequently made by an inexperienced engineer or a surveyor who are unfamiliar with the equipment and methods they are using. These types of errors includes miscounting the numbers of tapes, length, wrong booking, sighting wrong targets, measuring anti-clockwise, reading, turning instruments incorrectly, displacement of arrows or stations marks, etc. Gross errors can occur at any stage of survey when observing, booking, computing or plotting, and they would have a damaging effect results if left uncorrected. Gross errors can be eliminated only by careful methods of observing, booking and consequently checking both operations. Systematic or cumulative errors. These errors are cumulative in effect and are caused by badly adjusted instruments, and the physical conditions at the time of measurement must be considered in this respect. Expansion of steel, frequently changes in electromagnetic distance measurements, that is EDM instruments, etc. are just some of these errors. Systematic errors have the same magnitude and sign in a series of measurements that are repeated under the same conditions, thus contributing negatively or positively reading, hence makes the reading shorter or longer. This type of errors can be eliminated from a measurement using corrections, example effect of tension and temperature on steel tape. Another method of removing systematic errors is to calibrate the observing equipment and quantify the errors, allowing corrections to be made to further observations. Observations processes by remeasuring the quantity with an entirely different method using different instrument can also be used to eliminate the effect of systematic errors. Random or compensating errors. Although every precautions may be taken, certain unavoidable errors always exist in any measurements caused usually by human limitation in reading, handling of instruments, etc. Random errors cannot be removed from observations, but methods can be adopted to ensure that they are kept with the acceptable limits. In order to analyze the random errors or variables, statistical principles must be used, and in surveying their effects may be reduced by increasing the number of observations and finding their mean. It is therefore important to assume most random variables are normally distributed. Conclusion. An instrument used to determine the angle of the Earth's magnetic field in respect to the horizontal plane. An instrument for showing the inclination of an aircraft or ship relative to the horizontal. An airplane instrument see turn coordinator or slip indicators. An instrument for showing a deviation from the true vertical or horizontal. An instrument used by surveyor in order to measure an angle of inclination or elevation compass with inclinometer. An inclinometer is used to a rollover warning to alert equipment operator of possible tip over conditions. Any of various surveying instruments for measuring angles of elevation, slope or inclines as of an embankment, also called inclinometers. An instrument for measuring slight differences in slopes, particularly for geophysics. Such inclinometers are, for instance, used for monitoring a volcanoes or for measuring the depth and rate of a landslide movement. An inclinometer may also be used in civil engineering projects to measure the moments in walls and or in the ground. An instrument for determining the tip of belts or strata or the slope of an embankment or cutting a kind of plumb level. An instrument used by surveyor in order to measure an angle of inclination or elevation. An inclinometer may also be used in some automotive safety systems. Clinometer also used in civil engineering, for example, to measure the inclination of land to be built upon. Reconnaissance is the first and most important step in the surveying process. Only after a careful and detailed reconnaissance of this area can the surveyor decides upon the techniques and the instrumentation required to complete the work economically and meet the accuracy specifications. The process of establishing the major control of the highest order of accuracy as a framework on which to connect the major control, which is in turn used as a reference framework for detailing, is known as working from the whole to the part and forms the basis of all good surveying procedures. Errors are contained in all measurement procedures, and a constant battle must be waged by the surveyor and minimize and evaluate their effects. Independent checks should be introduced not only into the fieldwork but also into the subsequent computation and reduction of field data. In this way, errors can be quickly recognized and dealt with. Commensurate accuracy is advised in the measuring process. That means the angle should be measured to the same degree of accuracy as the distance and vice versa. In the majority of the engineering projects, sophisticated instrumentation such as total stations interfaced with electronic data recording is the norm. However, regardless of the technological advances in surveying, attentions must always be given to the instruments calibrations and checking carefully designed projects and meticulous observations, as surveying is essentially the science of measurements. It is necessary to examine the measured data in more detail. Thank you.